Hello everyone, I am Mahesh and I am Senior Test Automation Architect and having 14 plus years of experience in the software test automation. I worked on a different test automation like web automation, then mobile automation, desktop automation, then performance and load, as well as some of the third party like the backnet and all other areas. I worked in R&D department for 5 years, and where I worked on the different technologies like Java, C Sharp, Python, R language, and I explore myself into the PTD, REST assured, and other different technologies. Now, when I talked about my achievement, I do have one patent on my name and another in queue. Also, I have helped near about 2000 plus people to learn the test automation, and almost 1000 people they got opportunity in the very renowned organization in the field of test automation. Also, I have an hobby like coding, then mentoring the people, and also long walk on the beach. And that's all from my side. Now, what today we are going to see is the broken links. So when we talked about the broken links, before I show demo to you guys, I will. I mean, the demo is definitely on the how to find the broken links in Selenium, but let's understand some basic interview questions in those are asked by the interviewer. Like the first question, people may ask you, what are the broken links? Now, to start with, what is a broken links? Those are nothing but a link, and it's an HTML object that enable users to migrate from one page to the another web. So let's say I wanted to click on any of the page, any of the link, and which will jump me to the next page. And it is nothing but means to navigate between two different web pages on the and a broken link, also often called as the dead link, because once you clicked on that and you will get some type of pop-up like 404, 400 or some other pop-ups, okay, is and that does not definitely does not work, and that does not redirect also to any of the web page. This usually occurs because the website or the particular web page is down or does not exist. And when someone clicks on the broken links, an error messages is displayed. Now, broken links may exist due to some kind of server error. I mean, sometimes your server stop responding, sometimes some other client side errors and all other, but which is in terms of causes a corresponding page the malfunction and not to be displayed. A valid URL will have near about 200 plus HTTP status code, where broken links, which are essentially invalid, those have the request code like 400 plus and 500 plus. So when we talked about 400 plus, that is those status code refers to the client side error. And while we talked about the 500 plus status code, usually that points to the server response code. Now, next question people may ask you in interview is why we check the broken links. Okay, so if user clicks on the broken link, they will direct it to an error page. This obviously contributed to the bad user experience, and broken links defeat the purpose of having the website in the first place, because users cannot find that information or the service they are looking for, because they are getting the regular errors like 400, 404 and all others. And every link on that website must be tested to ensure that it is functioning as expected. And however, given that most websites have 100 of links required to make them work, and manual testing of each link would be require excessive amount of time, efforts and resources. And moreover, you can do that with the different automation tools like Selenium also. Now, which is I mean, the manual is totally unnecessary. That's why we can do that. Now, there next question people may ask you, what are the reasons behind these broken links? So there may be reasons, like 404, your page not found. The destination web page has been removed by the owner. That's why you will get the 404. 400, that is your bad request. That server cannot process the HTTP request triggered by the link because that URL address requested is wrong. Okay, and due to some of the firewall settings or browser cannot access the destination web page, the the link is misspelled. Okay. Now, after all of this, now the important question comes: do you know how to check the broken links with Selenium WebDriver? So yes, there is an answer for that. We can validate the broken links using a Selenium WebDriver. So when we talked about validate Selenium WebDriver broken links, what we will do, we will first identify your browser, then we identify your application under test, that is AUT. Once that is done, then we identify the how many anchor tags are there. Once those are requested and return you something, then we'll identify the attribute href. Okay, that is the most of the time you will get the URL links in the href. Okay, then we'll connect with the HTTP connection. We'll build that HTTP connection, we'll open that connection, and then we'll connect to the particular that HTTP connection. And with the help of HTTP connection, we'll get the response code. Once we'll get that response code, then we'll validate that response code against the broken response code like 400 or 404 or 500 and 500 plus. Okay, and these are how the process we can follow now. So now let's start with the demo. I'll show you some of the link, and let me show you. So if you can see, this is my web page, and I have some one more. Okay, so I can show you, this is my Jet Airways is a website. I'm going to validate all those links. If you can see, there are huge links. Okay, so I wanted to validate all these links using my Selenium code base. I wanted to validate this, and then I can say which command is which test is broken, which link is broken, which is not broken. Okay, so if you can see, there are a huge number of that even I can't count this, but we can count that using our code base as well. So let's try that. So now I'm going back to my code. Okay, this is my mouse operation, the last section, that last session that I have taken on the mouse operation will still continue. You can watch that mouse operation session. Okay, now let's create a new class. I'm going to create a class Selenium broken links. Okay, I select public static void main. I select my public static void main. So what I'll do, first of all, I need to validate or open a browser first. To open the browser, I need to do system.setProperty. Okay, set property, and I need a key, that is my web driver Chrome dot driver, and I need a value, that is key and value pair. So in the value I have my particular, so let me go back and I can see where I do have my, so if I do have my browser here, or no need to go, we do have that in my live session first. Okay, we'll just copy this. Okay, we can get that value. So I can get my Chrome driver from here. So as of now, I have system.setProperty, and people may ask you that question, do you think this line is mandatory? So answer is no, this is not mandatory. This is a runtime. We can set up a browser or the driver from here. You can set it from your environment variable. Now I can write to open my Chrome. So I can say driver equals my new Chrome, and I said Chrome driver. Okay, so I have my driver instance. This is a driver which is an instance of type web driver, and which is referring to the new Chrome driver, that is a new object. Now once I've done this, I can simply open my URL. I can simply open my URL. I can go back on my URL. Let's go back to your URL. That is your Jet Airways. Okay, So before that, I would like to show you one basic command today, and that is your, I hope I have not yet shown you guys this before. So driver dot manage, okay. So driver dot your manage dot, you can say your window dot maximize. So the maximize, again, this command will help you to maximize your open or the Chrome or the current driver. So current driver I'm going to maximize. My current driver is this. So I'm applying this maximize command on that current driver. So I'll write maximize my browser. Okay. Now, once I maximize this browser, I wanted to wait for some page load time also. So what I'll do, I can say once I maximize the browser and I try to enter my URL, but still it will not load or it will take some time. So what I'll do today, I'm going to show you some page load time as well. So driver, oh, sorry, I'll write here. So sorry, I'll write here page load time. I'll show you how to set that page load time as well. So driver dot manage dot your timeouts dot, we can say your page load timeout. Okay, so I'm going to say here I wanted to set the page load timeout, and I wanted to set page load timeout 50, the number. And if you can see, if you can mouse over here, it is saying the first is your long, first attribute, the input parameter is your long, and if you can see, the second one is a class. Second one is a class, and what that class is saying, that class is saying I am a time unit. That means time unit. So what time unit says? Time unit says you wanted to set this page load time 50 in which time unit? Do you want in seconds? Do you want in microseconds? Do you want in milliseconds, nanoseconds, or in minutes, or in hour, or in week? Okay, so time unit will tell you what exactly the unit it is representing for. Okay, so I am going to say my 50, that unit is going to represent as a seconds. Okay, so this 50, that is unit, is represent as a seconds. So now next thing that I'll do, once I write my page load time, then I go further, and now I will open a Jet Airways. Okay, I'll say Jet Airways site. Okay, so I'll write, I can go and open this Jet Airways site. So what I'll write to open, I say driver dot get, and once I'll write driver dot get, I will give here, I'll give here the input parameter, that is a string, that is https www dot your Jet Airways, your Jet Airways.com. Okay, we'll check that one more time if we want. We'll check that. So it is a Jet Airways. Yes, it is jetairways.com. Okay, so we'll take that site, that is jetairways.com. Once I'll write that site, and it should work on basic implementation of my site. It should open this Jet Airways site, because Gate will open the URL that is mentioned. It will add that URL into the open address bar. Now I got this. Now what? Now the first thing is I wanted to identify all anchor A tags, for example. Okay, I wanted to identify all anchor tags. Now to identify all the anchor tags, I need to write my code base. So if it is more than one, I always use a driver.findElements. I'm going to use driver.findElements, and I said by tag name. I'm going to use a driver.findElements, and I said by tag name this time. If you can see, I used by tag name, because what I said, I wanted to identify all A tags. If you want, I can write in this way so that it is clear to you guys. And the same way we can pass that tag here. we'll say we wanted to identify all the A tags. And now when we talked about find elements, so find elements return the list of web element. You can see here the find element returns the list of web elements. So how I mention, I can simply mention the list, and the list is of type a web element. The list is of type web element, and I mention here these are uh, all page links, for example. Okay, I'll mention all page links. So I will get here all page links. Those are on current jetairways.com. Once I'll get all the page links, I told you how many links are there. We just wanted to print, then we can print that. So I'll say here just print the total number of links. So how do we print? We said I can write here the total number of links on URL are this, and I can simply say it here plus, so I write my all page links dot size. Okay, so what I write, I said I wanted to print all my page URLs. I simply said I wanted to print all my page links, that is system.out.println, and I simply said size. So again, this is one of the method available within the list, which is a collection. Okay, I'll show you the collection in somewhere in my Java sessions. So I'll help you to understand what exactly are collections and how we proceed with the collections. Okay, now once we go back here and we said this is my size, now what I wanted to do, I wanted to get a response code. I wanted to get a response code. I said I wanted to get a response code. Now what is response code? It is HTTP response code, which is your 200, for example, I'm saying 200, or your 300, or your 400, or we have the 500. Any of this response code, I just wanted to hold that. So I can just hold that in one of the variable, because this is how we can make this code base as per the framework structure also in future. Okay, but currently I'm going to show you how we can manage these things. So let me go back here, and what I said, I wanted to handle or just wanted to print this response code. So I say let's declare this. Let's say I said int, and I say my response code, for example. Okay, I said int response code. Okay, this is my one of the variable. It is nothing but my response code. Now once I did this, once I declare this response code, now next step for me is to walk through with all the links, walk through with the all page links. That means now I can get the links. Now I wanted to get the response code for every this link. So for that I need to walk through with all the individual links. So before that we just simply run this code and we validate whether it works or not. So let me see and run this code. It should open. It should open. Okay, it should open my Chrome. Yes, it should enter your jetairways.com. Yes, and it should identify the total number of links on this page, and it should just print those total number of links on this page. We'll just identify yes. So as of now we are all set and we are all following the correct way. So as of now it is identifying total number of links. Those are your 100 links. Now it says we wanted to identify, so we'll get this all total links here. Now we wanted to identify its response or its HTTP response code. So there are two different way. I'll show you both the way, but we'll use only one. So there is first way where we can validate and use a collection way, that is for each web element, I can say for each web element from the list. Okay, uh, I can simply give the name here, element list. Okay, element of the list from all page links. Okay, this is how we can validate and we can proceed with our logic. This is one way. Now second way, the easiest way, which you always use, I don't want to go in this way today, we'll see that also in future, but now I'll go with the very simple way, that is another way, which we say for int you write always initialization, then you write always your condition, and here the condition says your all page links dot size. So what I said, I wanted to set I value to 0 and I said till my size. So size is always minus is equals to your exactly the limit. Okay, now uh, I just, that's why I mentioned here less than 1, because index is always minus 1 by size. Now I say size and then I simply said it's increment or decrement. So I can do here increment. So both are in a different way. This is my for each loop. This one is my for each loop, and this is my the basic for which always we used. Now I remove this code. We'll use that too. Don't worry. Okay. Now what I use my for, and now I wanted to get that link here as a web element. So I can simply write my web. Okay, and can simply write my web element page link. Right here, web element a page link equals to what exactly the links here. So I want to get that link by my all page links, by this all page link dot get, and what is the index, so I'll use index as I. Okay, this is a list function. Okay, this is a list function get, and it will return you the element that is specified at a specific index. Okay, so as of now I'll simply get this link. Now I enter here. Now I got the web page, that means a page link. Now I wanted to validate whether that page links is particularly working on this or not. Okay, so I wanted to get its attribute also, whether it's a broken or not. So what I'll do, I'll write here a page link. I'll write here a page link, control space. Now dot, what exactly you can use, if we already saw this get attribute method in my previous video. So I said get attribute, and always I said whenever you identify any of the URL. So let's go back to this page. I go back to this URL, inspect this URL, and if you can see, there is a tag. Always there is a tag. If you can see, there is always a tag named as href. Okay, so which refers to the particular reference of HTML reference to that particular link. So we said I wanted to get attribute value of what? I wanted to get the attribute value of this, and then I can use that as a URL. So let's go back. Okay, and I can go back here in my code now, and I simply write here href. So I said this is my href. I use this. Now I wanted to what get attribute returns, so always it returns me the string, so I'll simply store this in my string and I give the name let's say URL. Okay, or I can say page URL, whatever it is. So I can say page URL. So with this I'll get my page URL now. So get attribute and href will return me the page URL. Now I wanted to validate this page URL. So to validate this page URL, I told you there is a something that I need to create an instance of. The first instance I need to create is of your URL class. I need to create the first instance of your URL class, and URL class is available within your java.net. So let me write here URL. I will write here URL, and if you can see control space, can you see that? We'll get that URL within my java.net. So I'll write URL. I said link equals, I said new, and control space. I said new URL, and what I need to pass here, so I need to pass my page URL always. So in this for loop, whenever I come, it will assign every index and become it as a web element. Once that makes as a web element, then we'll get that web element's attribute value. So get attribute will return you whatever attribute you mention, it will return you the value of that attribute. Okay, so I will get href value here, which is nothing but my page URL. I create that URL class, okay, and which will return which is from your particular okay. So here it is saying malformed URL exception. So it asks you either you can add the throws declaration or surround with strike catch. So I'll just add throws declaration. It will definitely throws exception in my console once it will identify any malfunctions, okay, in URL. Now once that is done, either I can define this response code outside, or let's take an inside, so that every new index it will store some values. Okay, so I will, before that I will define here itself. Okay, so I'll say this is my response code. Now once I get this response code, the next thing is my HTTP URL connection. Now HTTP URL connection is again a class, and it will send HTTP request and capture the HTTP response code. Okay, I'll repeat one more time. HTTP URL connection is a class and which will send HTTP request and capture the HTTP response code. Once it will capture the HTTP response code, then we can validate that HTTP response code with some other different methodologies, okay? Or we can do a basic things like here we didn't check as of now that what is the title of this page and all that also you can validate. Okay, but I wanted to show you only broken links, so I will go more in detail about the broken links. Now I said we can create an instance of your HTTP URL, and we can say the URL connection class. Okay, I can say it's a connection. Okay, I can say HTTP URL connection. Okay, and then I think I can, okay, there are three. Okay, just on this. Okay, I say HTTP URL connection, that is from java.net. Again, you can bring that HTTP URL connection also from your java.net. So I use HTTP URL connection. I said I have my instance of that HTTP connection, for example. Okay, and I can write now what the HTTP URL connection will be open with any of the particular link. So what is link here? Link is my URL. So I said I wanted to use that link dot open connection. If you can see, I use link dot open connection. Now when I say link dot open connection, the output of open connection method is URL connection. Okay, I repeat one more time. Output of this open connection is again a URL connection. So either I can add this cast to this. Okay, so it is showing you either you can add the cast with this so that it works. So to better look and see this code, I can add in this way. Either you can cast this, either you can use now if you can see, there is another add throw, so which this time it is a IO exception, input output exception. So that's why I am again adding the throws declaration rather adding the try and catch block. So it is again a IO exception, and I'll go back. I'll go back here and it says okay. So let's say you have added IO exception. Now once I'm done with this, I have my HTTP connection ready with me. I have my HTTP connection ready with me. Now the next thing that I can do is simply I can connect to this connection. That means simply I can connect to this link. Simply I can connect to this link. So what it says again, when we say connect, it will the actual connection to the URL is established, and HTTP request is sent to that URL. So I'll copy this. I can say here, okay, I'll write before that the comment for you guys to connect to HTTP URL. Okay, and this code base says just open HTTP connection here. Okay, this is HTTP open connection. Now this we need to connect. So we do have a method, I hope, connect, yes. So we have HTTP connection connect method. Now this connect method is now what I can connect to this particular URL. Now after connecting this URL, I wanted to get the response code. I'll not go in header. I'll show you that how we validate header and URL both. So now I wanted to validate this. So how do we validate? First, I can get a HTTP response code with my get response. Okay, I can see the get response code. This is that method. If you can see what this method is responding. So this method is returning you a integer variable. Okay, the get response code is return type is integer, so it will return you definitely some numeric value. So I wanted to store that numeric value somewhere, so that's why I have declared to get that response code. If you can see here, I had written that. So let's take that response code into my response code integer variable. So now with this code I can get my response code here. Now once I'll get this response code here, I'll write get response code using get response code method, okay, which is nothing but again into a HTTP URL connection. Okay, now once I get that, I have some other work where I need to validate what is the response code currently I'm getting. Either I can simply print the response code for everything, either I can simply check the response code, and or either I can just do my own business logic to validate whether what response code I'm getting is always correct or not. So if you remember, before some time I said there is a reason why there are what are the reasons for broken links. So I told you the reason be always a 404, 400 or 500 or any other reasons. So we can validate either any of the response code I'm getting is not greater than or equals to your 400, or we can say if it is greater than and equals to the 400, then we can simply print that this response code is having a broken link. If it is less than that, then we can say this is a valid link, because we can get the success, we can get all other different particular response codes. So let's validate. I can write a very basic logic here. I said let's validate your response code with actual. Okay, so I said let's validate your response code with your actual response code. So how do we validate? We simply write if the response code, say if response code is greater than and equals to, I simply write if it is greater than or equals to a 400. I said if it is greater than and or equals to a 400, then simply we can say, I can say here, this response code, I can say this response code, we can write some string concatenation here. Okay, this response code is a broken links. Okay, so I can write this response code is a broken links. I can add the URL also, because we do have that URLs also here. So currently we can add your page URL. Our URL is this page URL. Okay, we'll simply set the page URL, and we said is broken link. Okay, so I said this is a response code, and I said my page URL is a broken link. I can write in this way, my page URL is a broken link, or you can mention to more clear, this is my broken links. Okay, but if it is not, if it works, so what we'll write, we'll simply write my response code, my response code again, my page URL again, I can say uh, is not a broken link, is valid link. For example, it's not broken, we can say it's a valid link. Okay, so I simply write this is what my code. Once I can execute this, it should execute and report me any of the failure. Okay, so I can simply my for loop ends here, and I can simply write here driver dot close, or even though not write, can close it manually, that's fine. So I want to, okay, so what is the issue? Okay, so I wanted to mention here my, this is response code, if greater than, if it is greater than or equals to 400, I can say my response code page URL is a broken link. If I can say this is less than 400, then it is not a broken link. Okay, so let me try, let me save this code, and let me try to execute this code one more time. Let's see what happened. So I'll close this previous URL, let it open. Okay, so let it open, it is opening my URL. Okay, once it opens Jet Airways, it will print how many total URL on this page. Maybe those are the dynamic, sometimes 100, sometimes 110, sometimes 80. Okay, that may happen if they have some of the rules are changed, some of the other round 1, round 2, and all other documentation change, public announcement change. There may be links validation or differentiation. That is possible. So now what I can say, now, what I can say, I just go back and it is validating, right? So let me explore this. See what happened. What it says, 200. So Jet Airways is a valid link. Now next link it is taking just total 100 links. Next link it is taking this PDF, and again it is saying the valid link. Again the next link it is saying the valid and valid and valid. So likewise it is validating all your links. So we said it is greater than or equals to 400, that's why this link is also valid link. Now we can validate all the links by using that particular code. If you can see, it is validating all your 100 links. So if you wanted to validate that manually, definitely it may take lot of human efforts as well as your time, and it will take a lot of maintenance also. There may be a human errors, or your some of the distraction or something that may happen. It is not possible to validate all 100 links in a 1 hour. So what happens with this code base, it is validating all those code base, all these links within some given time. So it is not taking more than 2 minutes of time to validate all the sites from all the URL, or all the valid and invalid or the broken links. Now what we can do, we can see some other site as well. I am not sure. Okay, so let's try with our this site as well. So we can validate any of the site now because our code is now a very dynamic, because we just need to change our URL, and it works for all other things. Okay, it works for all other things. So you simply change your URL and it should work. So I can take other link as well. You can take your Google, you can take any other. So let me take some of the links that you are aware about. So I'll take here google.com or google.co.in. So I take here google.com. Okay, and I wanted to validate how many are the broken links on the Google. So let me execute this code one more time. I'll show you some of the site which has the broken links also. Let me remember those sites, and some of the sites are definitely there out of what we are testing now. So see, it is maximizing your browser. Once it is maximized, it will validate all your links, and it will reply the response code with your valid or invalid links as well. So we can go back here and we can see it is checking. So if I can go here, so total 27 links on the Google. Okay, total 27 links on the Google, and mostly all the links are 200, returning me the 200. That means all the links are a valid link for me. My execution is over. If you can see, my execution is over. So all those links are returning a 200 for me. Okay, all these links are returning a 200 for me. Now I go back one more time. And I have a site like Go IBBO is also one, but let's validate some other site. So we can say UV. There is uvdesk.com. This is one of the site. Maybe we'll get some of the broken links over here. Let's try and execute this code base one more time. So I'll rerun my code. It should open the uvdesk.com, one of the site again, where we can have a multiple URLs, multiple links, and we need to validate what exactly those exactly. Okay, this is the help desk system. Okay, e-commerce site, and we can validate if this site is having some of the particular broken links. So let me go back and okay, we've got some of the broken links. Can you see this? Can you see this? So there are 170 total URL. There are total 172 URLs, and we are getting most of those are the broken links. If you can see here, we are getting most of these are the broken links. That means it is not responding. Those pages sometimes may be a static page or something. Okay, if you can still find some of the output, that means those sites are static pages. So it is validating all your 172 URLs from or the links. If you can see, some of those are 200, that is valid link, 300 is a valid link. But when we say 400, whenever it comes to the 400, it says it's a broken link, it's not a valid link. So all our logic works as it is what we are expecting to. Okay, now I go back and I'll explain you some of the important things. Let me close this. Okay, I'll just stop this. I'll stop this. And what we can do, so now as of now I have added a very basic code base, that is my WebDriver dot connect, and then I can see, I can maximize, then I can see the particular of your page load time, all other areas. Okay, now sometimes people may ask you, can we do a connection? Okay, or can you set a request method as well? Okay, people may ask you the question, can you set a request method as well? So how do we set the request method? So I'll say, can we set a request method? That means a method type. Okay, when we say request method, if you remember, there are the CRUD operation in API. The same way we can have the HTTP request as well. Now when we say HTTP request, or we can say the request method, I can set my request method in this way. I can set my request method like HTTP connection and set request method. If you can see here, I set this request method. And what type of method I need to set? Let's say if I wanted to set here a head. When I set this request method as a head, so if you request head, then only headers will be written. If you request here head, only headers will be written by this method. Okay. Now if you set a get here, if you set a get here in this way, then it will return you the headers as well as your document also, okay. So sometimes people, and these questions are asked in interview, sometimes these questions asked in interview, and people are very much confused in this type of questions, that what exactly the set request method is. So set request method is not only this. Set request method will help you to set any of the requests using your HTTP connection. Okay, so any of the method using your HTTP connection. So this is how we can do the broken links. Thank you so much for joining this session, guys. And we will I will ask a question, what exactly the topic that you would like me to cover in my next session. So I'll add that topic here in the comment section of this video. I would request each one of you to go back and comment that which topic you would like me to cover. Okay, so that will help us to give you the better problem statement, to solve your better problem statement. Thank you so much one more time, and have a good day.